This episode of the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast is brought to you by the Podcast Reach System. Are you ready to exponentially reach more profitable customers? Launching and hosting your own show is your proven best solution for networking, client attraction, and establishing your celebrity expert brand. Visit www.podcastreachsystem.com and claim your rightful place as the leading star of your industry so you make a difference for your community, market, and audience. Welcome to the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast. Join us as we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who reveal what they are doing to make the world a better place by being part of it. Be sure to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, lean in, tune in, get your notepad and 2 pens ready, and let's get started.
My name is Adam Homey. I am your host, and I am honored by your wise decision to tune in and invest in yourself today. Right now, we are speaking with my friend, Tony Petrozza, and let me tell you about him. Someone who knew Tony well has repeatedly described him as someone who sucks the marrow out of the bones of life, and he meant it as a compliment. Now, Tony says this is a guy who gets me. Tony's creative, offbeat, non-conformist, and believes that the greatest gift we have is our own lives. Moreover, in that present, perhaps the most awesome thing is our own potential. He's on a mission to live up to his and to help the world do the same. So in 2014, he began work on a solution for self-help. And in 2018, he stopped seeing coaching clients because he formed a new technological coaching company called Auxilium to officially create, operate, and market the answer to personal development. It's a revolutionary product you're going to discover in just a moment, and it's just about hitting the marketplace. So, personal development coach Tony Petrozza, welcome aboard. It's so great to have you with us again today.
It wasn't just a wise decision for your viewer or listener. It was probably the wisest decision of their lives. No.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much, Adam. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate anyone tuning in and watching very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
You bet. So the first question is, how does the work that you do make the world a better place for your clients, customers, and society at large?
I make it worse, much, much worse, actually.
Okay. I love this guy.
No, seriously, I make the world functional by making them functional. Firstly, let's get away from the definition of normal as what's familiar or routine. Let's focus on the other, better definition of it as functional or free of disorders. Now, people are constantly making meanings and pursuing goals. It's the human experience. We're built for it. But when we get dysfunctional, we make meanings that stop our meaningful goal pursuit. So it's a double dysfunction. Then we get so used to it, we consider that normal. It's really an abnormal normal. So
right.
Let's simplify. If you wanted a drink of water, you'd get it. Easy goal.
Yeah.
What if you could not? Aside from the necessity of water, you would not tolerate such a dysfunction for that easy goal. Americans today are dying of thirst. Not Africans, Americans. That's a metaphor, by the way. That's a real word. Look it up. It's like they're lost in the desert. I'm showing up with a sweating glass of water.
Yep. So
that's my answer.
Just so our listeners truly understand, what is it that you do? I mentioned that you were going to tell us, so go ahead.
Well, I was a life coach, but
yeah.
I hated people too much. Half my clients killed themselves. On the plus side, they did not write negative testimonials. Kidding!
Oh, God.
So I created the world's first true self-help coaching. And a life coach helps a client pursue any goal. In self-help coaching, the client or the user, or we call them client, which is a combination of client and student, which is a combination of client for coaching and student for self-help, combine that into the word client, because this is such a novel thing. It really needed its own new word for the experience. But we help people pursue goals relevant to the course they took, or the content that they're learning, the principles, the teachings, the knowledge. Only those kinds of goals. That's self-help coaching. So that's what we do. And I'm the senior partner of Auxilium. And Proficio is both a product and a service. So it makes anyone into self-help get what they wanted from it. Whatever the advertised benefits were, you'll finally get them. You're like, wow, it really worked, because that's what Proficio is literally designed to do.
Right. So, in your experience, and I know that this is a relatively new entrant to the marketplace, but I know you've already had some questions about it. What are some of the most common questions that people have about Proficio as they're making their decision to invest in it?
Well, is it a coaching app? And the answer is yes, but unlike any other coaching app out there, I mean, there's nothing like Proficio. I mean, yeah, we're in the coaching market, we're in the self-help market, we're in the e-learning platform market, but there's nothing like Proficio. And it's an automated coach. It's not a human proxy. There's no app between you and a person. It's just you and the computer. But the computer knows you very well. It's completely customized to you as a person. So it is a coaching app. The second question I get mostly, is it a financial course? Well, as a financial course, no, it's not. That's just our premier course is a financial one, because we got to start somewhere. That's all. And, finances are a pretty important and relevant thing to most people in a society. So another related and third question is it a Benjamin Franklin site? No. And as a matter of fact, I will kill the next person who asks me that. And I can't be convicted of it, because I said it on this podcast first. Podcast immunity, Adam. No,
it's host guest privilege.
That's right, man. It's even more valuable than a lawyer or client privilege.
Yes.
I chose Benjamin Franklin very carefully, because this guy has more credibility than anybody. And he's really probably one of the greatest Americans or persons who have ever lived. And our messaging was a little bit off on our website. So, we talked about Benjamin Franklin a lot, so people got a little confused. No, not a Benjamin Franklin site. We love Benjamin Franklin. We're just a self-help coaching revolutionary app site. The first course is by Benjamin Franklin, which is a financial course, The Way to Wealth.
Wow, that's fantastic. What are a few questions you wish people would ask?
Would you like to date my sister? No. The world. I'm lonely, Adam. I'm lonely. It wasn't just the pandemic. The world already has more self-help than it knows what to do with. Why should I do another self-help thing, Tony? Great question. The answer is because Proficio makes any of it finally work. One Proficio is worth more than 1,000 self-help courses. More. Because it doesn't matter what you learn if you're not implementing it, or even more importantly, applying it towards meaningful goals. That's right. What knowledge is for. And that's exactly what Proficio does for you. And another question is, how long should I subscribe to the post-course subscription for? The answer is not necessarily until you've reached your goals, but until it helps you create enough good habits and reduced enough bad habits to make you successful. Because once you've done that, you are successful. And that's even before the goal accomplishment, because it's really the goal pursuit. That's where it's at. And me, by the way, Tony Petrozza, I would be successful because I helped you attain that state, and that is my mission.
Great. So let's have some fun here. Is where we. I'm sorry. Oh yeah. and this is where we shift gears a little bit and discover more about Tony as an individual. So the first thing we like to ask is, what would people who know you be surprised to learn about you?
I've never given anyone a hard time that didn't have it coming to them. I want that out there. No, I'm not from your planet. My ship crash landed here. Seriously, I used. Here, how about this? I used to sing for a punk rock band, and
Yep.
I'll tell you the best compliment I ever got. Firstly, I was not a good singer. I was a great frontman, but not a good singer. If I stayed in key, it was probably an accident. But
Yeah.
there is a great song called "I Want to Be Your Dog" by Iggy Pop from the 70s. It's like a punk anthem. Well, I was playing this gig in a bar in Queens. We did this song, and after the show was over, after the performance was over, this old punk rock chick from the 70s came up to me, and she said to me, "Tony, you did that better than Iggy Pop." And I was, wow, that was Nirvana of my, that was the climax of my punk rock singing career. Better than Iggy Pop, man, singing.
Wow.
By the way, I got a better story than that. If you can give me that, or I know we want to keep this thing short, but it's maybe
I'll give you another minute here. Tell me this other story. I want to hear
it's
one
about
more.
It's a great moral about lying. I used to be quite a liar, and I used to lie about everything, and I transformed from that in the 90s. Really got into forgiveness and honesty and spirituality, much more so. And one of the things I used to lie about is that I used to be a soldier, a paratrooper. I used to lie that I was in combat in Grenada. It was not true at all. I was never in combat. I did not go to Grenada. Like, my unit went there, but not with me. And this guy years later ran to me, I knew him from the younger years. He said, "Tony, tell us a story about when you killed those Cubans in Grenada." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Then I remember it was a lie I used to say all the time. It was bullshit. So my lie came back to me, and I was humiliated, deservingly so. So, never served in combat, and I learned one of the reasons is to stop lying is so that you don't have to keep track of your lies.
Yeah, that's they say if you speak your truth, you won't have to remember later what you said.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, what do you hope people say about you when you're not around to hear it?
He's right, and not to be right, because I don't care about that necessarily, but because I'm unconventional and even radical, odd, I'm even strange. But that's maybe a description or an adjective that's applied to me. But I'm all about personal evolution and expression, and breaking social mores and codes, not for its own sake, but when they're stupid or illogical or even destructive. When you do that, people will not treat you fairly. So when someone says he's right or he was right, that's a kind of redemption.
Right. Speaking of redemption, if you could go back in time and change something you've done or something you've experienced, what would it be and why?
Getting started with drugs. I'm a recovering addict or recovered addict. Over 20 years clean and sober. I destroyed my life with drugs, and I never even stuck a needle in myself. You don't have to do that with drugs. And I used to have a photographic memory. I used to totally impress all my fellow soldiers because I remember all this stuff photographically, visually. But that's lost. That's gone from crystal, because of specifically crystal meth, which really destroys the brain. But that's just one little specific thing. But the whole, in the big picture, drugs really destroyed my life, took me down this road of waste and destruction. I'm a certified coach. I'm a certified practitioner of NLP. I'm into all these philosophies and psychologies and self-help. I'm here to tell you the most profound thing I ever did was to get clean and sober. And for most people, they don't need that. They're
Right.
quote unquote normal, right? Or they don't have problems with addiction, but a lot of people do, and it's one of the greatest destructions there is.
Right. What famous person, alive or dead, would you like to meet, and what questions would you have of them? And just looking at your background, I know this is going to be an interesting response.
You think I'm going to say Julius Caesar or Apollo? Because those of you not only listening, you can tune into YouTube if Adam has on there, and you can see the visual. But everyone, I'm not going to say those. Those are too easy. Everyone says Hitler, but I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to go with Stalin. No. I'll go with Christopher Columbus.
Okay.
Not just because he's so controversial and excoriated today. There are a number of reasons. I'd go up to him before he reached the Americas on his transit across the Atlantic, and I'd say, Chris, can I call you Chris? People are talking a lot of shit about you 500 years later. There's a lot of ignorance. Can you just turn around? Go back east. Go back east where you came from.
Oh man, that's probably, if we ever do like a review of most interesting answers to question number 8, I know that's going to be a finalist right there.
And I can elaborate on that, but I know this is part of this podcast is to be very brief. But I can elaborate on that, but it's up to you.
30 seconds. Tell us just a little bit more.
Most people don't understand how time works. Time works by a succession of things that accumulate, and one causes an effect, and that effect becomes another cause. If Christopher Columbus didn't come here, and I don't say it's because I'm Italian, and discover the new world, if you will, then none of us almost certainly would ever be born. None of us. All these things, the way it works is Christopher Columbus landed in Hispaniola, and then I got born. 500 years later, Adam got born. Everyone else got born. And not just in the Americas, because the Americas affected the rest of the world. All these things happened that happened due to Christopher Columbus's transit across the Atlantic.
It's the butterfly effect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what motivates and inspires you to keep going when you're having a tough time or facing a challenge?
2 basic things. First, belief in 3 things. My sound thinking process based in principles. My history, thinking of my history of success, and my partnership with Daniel Rosinski. My partnership is the ship of my success. It is the vehicle of my success. So it's the thinking about those things, all right? Self, history to refer to, and my partnership. The other thing is commitment. Commitment is what separates the winner and the loser. It's that simple. I learned this the hard way, by the way. Commitment is the difference that makes the difference, if you will.
Yeah. So finally, I know you have an invitation for our listeners, and I'll share that with them. But in general, right now, what is one action that you would urge our listeners to take as soon as they finish streaming this episode?
All right, listener or viewer, what I'd like you to do is visualize your better self. Vividly see that person out there and step into him or her. Feel it throughout your entire body. Now double that feeling and get to work.
Great. So first of all, Tony, thank you so much for being here. And what I want our listeners to check out, if you're watching the video version of this on our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com, you will right now see on your screen the link that appears. For everybody who's out jogging, I'll say it for you. And you can also find it in the show notes if you visit our website. It's perficio.io. I'm going to spell that for you. PERFICIO.io. That's perficio.io. So other people may not use or value what's freely accessible to them. And basically, there's a gift that's waiting for you at the website that has something to do with that. I'm going to leave that for you to discover when you visit that link. And I'm also just tell you briefly about Perficio. It's a digital coach, as Tony mentioned, that makes success in self-help the new standard. By blending digitalized personal coaching into an online self-improvement course, it helps you bridge the divide between knowledge and action so you can overcome the psychological catch-22 of self-help. This is a fascinating area of study. This is an incredible innovation. I've seen it myself, so I can vouch for it firsthand. Again, that's perficio.io. And with that, Tony Petrozza, thank you again. It's been an honor, and believe me, in education.
Thank you very much, Adam. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for tuning into the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who are making a difference for their community, market, and audience. Remember to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast.